YouTube, Dark Magician of Team Sorcerers here, trying to adjust the angle a bit. Here's the other suggestion that was given to me by Dark Magic Couple, and that is, what if Yugi duelled Rex both times instead of Joey? I mean, I can't think why these two would even duel in the first place, but I guess we'd roll with it anyway. But I see where this is going. Obviously, Joey duels Rex to get more star chips and the Red-Eyes Black Dragon, so I think maybe we should do a switcheroo, where Joey would either duel Mako Tsunami in Duelist Kingdom instead, to balance things out, or Joey would have to play someone else. Can't think who though. I would say Joey would do a Weevil instead, but the thing is, Yugi has to do a Weevil, because of the whole thing with throwing Exodia off the boat. Then again, I guess maybe Joey would do that anyway, but that would mean there'd be no reason for Joey and Weevil to duel in Battle City, unless it's a revenge rematch. But in any case, though, if Yugi and Rex duelled, then this would of course mean that Rex would summon Red-Eyes Black Dragon out, and I guess maybe there'd be that bet would still happen. I mean, Yugi would bring Dark Magician out. It would try and attack Red-Eyes, but Rex would do something to stop the attack, but not necessarily destroy Dark Magician. Then Rex would throw down the bet and say, like, whoever wins gets whatever card they have on the field. In this case, Dark Magician and Red-Eyes Black Dragon. However, Red-Eyes would attack Dark Magician after being powered up by wait, no, I was going to say powered up by Dragon Toenails, but it would probably be already powered up anyway. Actually, no, I guess it depends on circumstances, but Yugi would defend Dark Magician with magical hats or something like that, and then he draws into a devastating trap and puts it down, and hides it in the hat. Then Rex would go in for the kill and try and eliminate Dark Magician and the rest of Yugi's life points, for instance, but he attacks the hat with the trap, which would end up being the spellbinding circle, weakening Red-Eyes Black Dragon. Then Dark Magician comes out of the hat, attacks Red-Eyes, and Yugi wins, and then Yugi gets Red-Eyes Black Dragon. So this would mean, of course, that Joey never gets it, and it's not Joey's ace monster, so he's left with Flame Swordsman and Time Wizard. But that would mean that Flame Swordsman would be more supported and probably wouldn't be made into a fusion monster and would still be a level 5 vanilla, which would be Joey's true ace and get as much support as Red-Eyes Black Dragon would end up getting. But yeah, the rest of Duelist Kingdom plays out pretty much a similar way, although Joey gets more backed into a corner or facing Bones, because he never tops the Red Eyes Black Dragon and attacks and destroys Pumpkin. So I guess Joey would have to use something else. I mean, I guess he'd top Monster Reborn and bring Flame Swordsman back and activate Salamandra, then attack and destroy Pumpkin that way. That's the best thing I could think of. Black Skull Dragon would come out a bit earlier in the tag team duel with the Paradox Brothers. But the other thing is, it would mean that Joey has no big fusion to bring out against Yugi when they duel in the final to decide who faces Pegasus. Unless, of course, Joey comes up with a way to possibly take Black Skull Dragon and its fusion materials, like Grave Robber and Copycat, but he'd only be able to take like half the pieces of that puzzle. Of course, the only alternative is that he brings out some kind of other big boss monster that runs over Gaia the Dragon Champion. But then again, I guess, he'd have to have his own Monster Reborn as well in order to make the Black Skull Dragon play work, at least by anime standards. And then, yeah, there's also the duel with Bandit Keith. Joey doesn't have Red Eyes to face Bandit Keith with. He'd have to have some kind of other hidden high-level ace monster. Maybe Sword Hunter, for instance. I know he gets this when opening those new packs, so that he duels Duke Devlin, but maybe Sword Hunter could come up like a lot earlier and be obtained earlier, and that would be Joey's other boss monster as opposed to Flame Swordsman. So things with that, so combining it with Metal Morph, bringing out some kind of fusion with it would be the go-to strategy. I don't know if it would be his rarest card, but although it's unlikely, because without Red Eyes Black Dragon, the rarest card Joey has is Time Wizard. So this brings us to Battle City, where the Rare Hunter Seeker tries to take Time Wizard instead of Red Eyes Black Dragon, and it comes up in that in that duel instead of Red Eyes. Then Joey gets obliterated by Exodia, and then he loses the Time Wizard, and then feels even worse about losing it, because that was a gift from Yugi. So then Yugi would then duel against Seeker to get Time Wizard back. He succeeds, now, even though it was originally gifted to Joey in the first place, this time Joey wants to earn it back. And again, just like with Red Eyes, he lets Yugi hold on to it. throughout the remainder of the Battle City tournament. And wants to have a duel with Yugi Laser to win it back, basically. This would, of course, mean that Time Wizard doesn't come up in the duels with Esperoba and then later on Kaiba. Not that Time Wizard's effect would have worked on Jinzo anyway, considering there's bullshit anime rules involved where Jinzo's armour doesn't rust. So with this in mind, nothing really changes with the Esperoba duel for Joey, and for the most part, nothing changes regarding Battle City or the Virtual World arc, which leaves Joey with very few options left when it comes to dealing with Kaiba, considering his deck's affected by Crush Card Virus. But so that duel would have to end another way. I mean, Kaiba would have to find a way to basically recycle enemy controller, because it's the only thing Kaiba has to basically take control of opponents' monsters. Not necessarily Soul Exchange, because it has that drawback of skipping the battle phase. So instead of the last two duels being played out with Time Wizard and Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon coming out, Kaiba would have to bring out Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon like a turn earlier and get out his second Blue Eyes White Dragon and then power those guys up with something that can overcome the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Maybe Kaiba could run his own defusion, because just so he can finish Joey off with two original Thunder Dragons. So, provided Kaiba has the life points for it, what he could do is... there is also stop defense as well, so he would need to be able to get stop defense like one turn early. Maybe use some other draw cards like Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity. He would use stop defense to switch Hayabusa Knight into attack mode like a turn earlier. He would still tribute summon Blue Eyes White Dragon by tributing Kaiser Seahorse. Use Monster Reborn to bring back, like, I guess anything in his graveyard. Play Spell Reproduction or Magical Stone Excavation to get back enemy controller. Pay 1,000 if he has the 1,000. And if he doesn't have quite enough, use emergency provisions on another spell trap he played. Take back the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then just completely wipe Joey out. That's the best way I could think of. So then in the Waking the Dragon arc, Joey would face Weevil. Instead, if we're going to have Yugi face Rex again, I mean, Joey does struggle a little bit, but he is able to overcome Insect Queen or Armoured Centipede with the combination of Red Ice Black Dragon Sword and Gearfried the Sword Master. Meanwhile, Yugi would be able to get Red Ice Black Dragon out against Rex and barely be able to hold on, and then he would again try to use the Eye of Timaeus in this duel and fuse it with something, but again Timaeus abandons Yugi. But I don't think Rex would do what Weevil did and pretend that one of the proper cards is the card with Yugi's soul. Yeah, even Rex wouldn't stoop that low. I mean, he was a jerk, but he was nowhere near as bad as Weevil. You know, I mean, Weevil was just simply a bad influence on Rex. Plus, to be fair, Rex did warn Joey about Esperoba's psychic abilities in Battle City. But even though Yugi would be backed into a corner, he'd still win somehow, and maybe try to find a way to have Berserker Soul come up here as well, so we could still have Yugi, Atem rather, be like a door, Monster Cardor! And that's basically how it would go down, and then what's the other? Oh yeah, and Yugi would also have access to Lord of the Red and Knight of Dark Dragons, which I've already talked about in a previous What If Wednesday episode, but that would mean that Joey wouldn't have it when facing Valen and Mai. You know, Flame Swordsman would have to be more heavily involved in those duels, like maybe have some ritual support for Flame Swordsman, which we could get. That'd be cool. I'm almost surprised we don't have a ritual version of Flame Swordsman. Actually, that's a thought. What if Flame Swordsman was a ritual monster instead of a fusion or a vanilla? That would be interesting. Maybe I'll save that for another time as well. But anyway, other than that, Waking the Dragon would play out the same way. But again, you know, it wouldn't come up when Joey faces Siegfried in the KC Grand Prix, or as Little Karibo calls it, Grand Prix. But no, Flame Swordsman would come up in this duel instead of Red Eyes Black Dragon, when Joey's going on that all-out assault with maximum 6. I mean, it would mean that Brunhilde wouldn't be able to use that sword to banish a dragon. It would have to be changed so it would banish any monster. And yeah, that's basically how it would go down. That's what would happen if Yugi dueled Rex instead of Joey dueling Rex. So, thanks for watching. See you later.